5 Names I'll Never Forgive. Reba McEntire's untold story of betrayal, lessons, and the Opry that broke her heart. Nashville, Tennessee, an autumn afternoon. The air carries the scent of bourbon, old guitars, and memories. Reba McEntire sits quietly in her little recording room in Franklin, slowly turning the pages of an old photo album. Each photo is a chapter, a song, a person. Then she stops. People always think the Opry was just glory and lights, she says, her voice low and calm. But behind those curtains, there were wounds, some I'll never forgive. 1. The voice that shut me down, Porter Wagoner. Reba closes her eyes, remembering 1977, the first time she was invited to sing at the Grand Ole Opry. She was just 22, filled with nerves and hope. I wore my mama's handmade dress, she recalls. It was peach-colored, with lace that scratched my neck. Backstage, Porter Wagoner, the legend who discovered Dolly Parton, glanced at her and said coldly, "You'll last a year, little girl. This stage eats sweet faces for breakfast." Reba smiled anyway and stepped onto the stage to sing Invitation to the Blues. The crowd applauded, but Porter didn't. After the show, he turned away and muttered to his manager, "She's green. She'll fade." No one had ever told me I wasn't good enough before, Reba says softly. That day, he did, and it hurt like hell. She swore she'd never let anyone crush her dreams. And 2 years later, when Porter himself fell out of favor in Nashville, Reba was invited back, a living example of quiet revenge. I don't hate him, she says, eyes distant, but I'll never forgive the way he made a young girl doubt her worth. 2. The Smile That Lied, Tammy Wynette. Tammy was a queen, Reba admits. But queens can be cruel. In the early 1980s, Reba was rising fast in country music, while Tammy Wynette still reigned as the first lady of country music. They performed together once at a Nashville gala. Reba remembers it vividly. She hugged me backstage, then told the press my voice was cute but shallow. The next morning, it was printed in every paper. Reba read it through tears. Shallow, she repeats. That word haunted me. Years later, when they met again, Tammy smiled lightly and said, "Oh honey, I didn't mean it. That's just showbiz." Reba smiled back, but inside she knew, some wounds run too deep for apologies to reach. I respected her. I learned from her. But forgiveness? No, because she taught me how women tear each other apart when they should lift each other up. 3. The Man Who Took My Song, George Jones. If there was one person who truly made Reba angry, it was the possum, George Jones. In 1984, she wrote a song called The Fire You Left Behind, a slow country ballad about loss and longing. She sent it to her label. 2 months later, she turned on the radio, and there was George Jones, singing her song. The songwriter credit? Not her. I called the label, Reba recalls. They told me I'd sent the wrong demo. But I knew the truth, someone took it off my desk. She never sued. I was afraid of being blacklisted from the Opry, she says. In Nashville, you don't sue a legend. You smile and keep singing. George later sent word through a friend, it was a misunderstanding. Reba's reply was simple. A misunderstanding doesn't pay back the honesty you stole. 4. The Woman Who Tried to Replace Me, Barbara Mandrell. By the mid-1980s, when Reba had started topping the charts, a silent war began backstage at the Opry. Barbara was the darling, Reba says. She was perfect, the hair, the dresses, the voice, the family. When the Opry prepared for its 60th anniversary celebration, Barbara Mandrell was chosen as the first voice of the Opry. Reba was moved to the secondary lineup. I cried in the dressing room, she recalls. I'd worked my tail off, and they told me Barbara was more marketable. That word cut me open. Reba still performed and smiled under the bright lights. But when the cameras stopped rolling, she slipped away before the party ended. Barbara never apologized. Years later, in her memoir, she wrote, "Reba took things too personally. Maybe I did," Reba says with a wry smile. "But if fighting for my place makes me emotional, then damn right, I'll own it." 5. The Friend Who Betrayed Me, Vince Gill. Here, Reba's voice grows quiet. "Vince," she whispers, "that one still stings." They had been close friends, duet partners, fellow travelers through fame and heartbreak. But in 1991, tragedy struck, a plane crash that killed 7 members of Reba's band. Not long after, Vince Gill released "Go Rest High on That Mountain." At first, Reba thought it was a tribute. Later, she realized he never mentioned her or her band in any interview. He sang that song everywhere, the Grammys, the Opry, churches, and people thought it was about his loss. But that loss was mine first. Reba didn't speak to Vince for years. When you lose your family, you want people to stand beside you, not turn your grief into a hit song, she says, tears welling. Vince eventually sent flowers and a handwritten apology. She read it, folded it, and burned it. "Forgiveness isn't the same as forgetting," she says. "And I haven't done either." 6. Redemption through music. Reba McEntire isn't a woman who clings to hate, but she believes in memory, in remembering so history doesn't repeat itself. "Nashville taught me 2 things," she says. "Sing from the scars, not from the smile. And never trust applause, it fades faster than pain." She still performs at the Opry. Every time she walks on stage, she imagines those old faces in the crowd: Porter, Tammy, George, Barbara, Vince, each one like a ghost of country music past. "I don't sing for them anymore," she says. "I sing for the girl I was, the one they underestimated." When the lights go out, Reba heads backstage, hangs up her cowboy hat, and smiles. "Some people hurt you once," she says. "But they help you find the voice you never knew you had." 7. The Woman Beyond Forgiveness. Today, Reba McEntire is more than a singer, she's a living symbol of strength. She's endured loss, betrayal, heartbreak, and the loneliness that comes with the spotlight. But she's no longer afraid. In a 2024 interview, a host asked her, "Reba, is there anyone you still can't forgive?" She smiled, looked straight into the camera, and said, "Forgiveness isn't a gift for them. It's peace for me. I just haven't found enough peace yet." 8. Epilogue, the Opry still stands. The Grand Ole Opry still shines every weekend. Young artists still dream of standing where Reba once stood. Backstage, a black and white photo of her, bright smile, fierce eyes, hangs among the faces of legends. Beneath it, a small inscription reads, "She sang her truth, even when it hurt." And that's Reba McEntire, a woman who doesn't need forgiveness to find peace, because music has already done it for her. Speech balloon final reflection. Reba McEntire once said during a memorial performance at the Opry in 2022, "Every legend I couldn't forgive taught me something. How to fight, how to stand, how to stay true." Maybe forgiveness isn't forgetting. Maybe it's remembering, without bleeding. As the spotlight dimmed and her voice carried through, "Back to God," the audience wept. And from the front row, someone whispered, "She finally forgave herself."